Conservative media viewers, what's going on? It's me, John D. Villarreal, the four-time national champion, the super genius, and the political expert. And this is the Conservative Media Daily Trump Update for March 24th, 2017, Friday. And this was a big Friday. This is the Friday that the healthcare bill, so-called quote-unquote RyanCare, first of all my personal opinion only, not alleged any facts, not casting any aspersion over entertainment purpose only. Please check disclaimers. RyanCare, that healthcare bill got pulled. It didn't look like the votes were there. Supposedly there was going to be a vote. It was all to this. Here's the bottom line. I'm going to run through this quick. There's a lot to talk about here. We're going to do it real quick here. Listen, as I said in my last video, I think that in my opinion, I think Paul Ryan owns this. He's the speaker. I don't think there's any escape for that. I don't think there's any kind of detailed analysis that can get around from that bottom line. Oh, it's Trump. Listen. Way before Trump was president or was even running for president, the Republicans, including Paul Ryan, in my opinion, have been running on repeat order replace and raising money and all this type of stuff. And there's been, how many times has this been, have they passed bills on this kind of stuff to go to President Obama's desk, stuff like that? Number one. Number two, Paul Ryan has been in Congress for what, almost 2 decades. Number three, Paul Ryan is the Speaker of the House. This is legislation. He is in charge of the Congress, the House of Representatives, which is in charge of generating this legislation. Bottom line, that's his deal. Okay, so if President Trump went in there and he, messed up something the executive branch does, then they would, he would have to deal with that. So that's the bottom line of this. Now, does that mean that everything Trump did on this one was the right way to go? I can't say that. Maybe everyone can always do things better. Maybe Trump should have said, okay, this is what I want, and put some stuff together. Obviously, Trump is, still learning the political type of situation. But I think that the bottom line is that the way this rolled out in terms of the behind closed doors, we remember Paul, Senator Rand Paul trying to go in there and do the whole, try to get into that meeting and stuff like that. I think the way this thing was put together, I think the way that it was rolled out, I think the way that it was sold was really bad. And I think ultimately, Speaker Paul Ryan has to be accountable for that. Now, that does not let off the hook or excuse other people who may have, share the blame in this. But here's the thing: let's pull back from this. I mean, in my opinion, Obamacare is still unpopular and is still a big failure, and I think it's only going to become more so. That doesn't mean that there aren't parts of Obamacare that some people may be in favor of, but I think that this is healthcare is a huge part of the economy. It's a very serious issue. There's all kinds of multifaceted things that need to be done to improve it, in my personal opinion. And it's a heavy lift, and everyone has to face up to this. There is no free healthcare in terms of how about this? Everyone in the United States cannot have the best, unlimited amounts of healthcare that they want, without paying for it. So, there's a scarcity of resources for everything, right? And so in order to, in my opinion, really fix this, it's going to take everybody, Democrats, Republicans, everybody come to the table and being straight up about this. And it's going to be competition. It's going to be tort reform. It's going to be all kinds of stuff. Now, obviously, I'm a conservative. I want to see conservative things applied. We have, Republicans in Congress, Senate, and the White House, and so I think that it should be, a conservative type of solution. But I think that even liberals can see that there are problems with Obamacare, and there are problems with how that's going. So I think that has to be faced up to soberly, no different than, in certain entitlement programs, and the solvency of such, down the road have to be faced up soberly. And I think that a lot of politicians don't want to do that, you know what I mean? And so, I hope that's done. But in any event, bottom line is this: I think that the problems with Obamacare, continue. I think that we can come back to this later. I think that if we come back to it later, since, Trump ran on this, he needs to push the agenda. I think that there are questions about the long-term viability of Speaker Paul Ryan's speakership. I think that the leadership is in question there. That doesn't mean he can't recover. That doesn't mean he can't, pull it together and everything like that. But I think that this is I think if anyone was damaged by this, it was definitely Speaker Paul Ryan, in my opinion. And I think it raises huge questions, right? It's fine to have show votes. It's fine to go campaign. It's fine to have stump speeches. It's fine to raise money. But when the rubber hit the road and you had a Republican Senate and Republican Congress and a Republican president in there, why did it take so long to put this together? Why was this bill put together? Why was it put together in this way? And why didn't you get the vote? I mean, the results aren't there, bottom line, in my opinion. Okay, now let's move on to the next issue. Next issue is there seems to be more coming out. We had Chairman Nunes talking again about this whole potential surveillance of, the Trump team and stuff like that. I think that there seems to be more and more building on this. I think this is very interesting developments. Where do you think it's going to end up? You let me know about that. Last but not least, where do you think that the Trump presidency is right now? How much progress have they made? In some ways, I think they've made huge progress. In other ways, I think that maybe there's been some squandered opportunity. Doesn't mean they can't recover, because remember, this is a different kind of presidency. This is a different kind of president. This is someone that can do things like lightning quick, and I think learns extremely quick. So I think that I don't think he had everybody helping him out. I don't think he had everyone pulling together. I mean, we've seen stuff that Senator Graham says, Senator McCain has said. We've seen this thing with this debacle of the RyanCare no vote in the House. I think they got to pull it together. And let's keep hitting down these campaign promises and get things done that the American people want. Now, that being said, stocks are up, jobs are up. There's a lot of other positive things. President Trump has been ticking down those promises that have been made, but we still have the huge things of healthcare fix that needs to happen, and tax reform that needs to happen, economy, different things like that. So I think they have to just keep knocking those things out that they can do, keep attacking it. And there's a lot of work to do. That's the bottom line. I mean, again, we have to remember the whole situation here. If President Trump was going to drain the swamp, the swamp might have something to say about this, number one. Number two, it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be fast. So he's got to keep attacking it, and he's got to keep working on this. And these are big problems. Swamp or no swamp, there's huge problems that the American public face, and there's things that have been building up for generations, with some of these, entitlement programs and stuff like that. And so, how do we improve upon where we're at now? How do we continue to be competitive in the world, and how do we face today's and tomorrow's challenges? And those are big things for a lot of people to go and work on there. So anyway, I know those are some generalities, but I also know that you know what I'm talking about. So that's where I'm at on that. I think that bottom line is this: I don't consider this a huge loss today. I think if anything, it exposed the weaknesses of some potential rivals to Trump, if you will, and I think he puts Trump squarely in command and in charge. If anyone was thinking, so in other words, let me put it this way. So there was some chatter along the political classes, back before the inauguration, and even just after, that Paul Ryan was the leader of the Republican Party, and Paul Ryan was so serious, and Speaker Ryan, and all that type of stuff. I think we've seen what Speaker Ryan can do. Right? Again, doesn't mean that he can't come back, doesn't mean he can't, get it together and everything like that. And I'm not putting all the blame there, but again, I do think as Speaker, that's ultimately where the buck stops, okay, when it comes down to legislation. So I think that, Trump is someone who's getting stuff done. What has a Republican Congress gotten done since Trump has been elected? And here, how much money have they raised? How many times have they ran? How many elections have they won? How much? I mean, now we have a look at how fast the Democrats are moving when President Obama was in here. Where's the Republican Congress now? So it's time to put up or shut up. That's what I'm talking about right there. And I think there's been some sunlight, if you will, and some exposure there for Speaker Ryan. So I think that we got to get it together. This is a chance. And honestly, if the bill wasn't right, they shouldn't have passed it. We need the right bill. We need the right bill. We don't need to we need the right bill, not the wrong bill. So let's get everything right. Let's attack this again, but let's get things done, and then let's circle back to this. But I do hope that that this isn't something that doesn't get done now, and we missed our chance. I do hope they're able to get it done right, and so we'll see. But so I'm cautiously optimistic. You know what I mean? I'm cautiously optimistic. I think that we'll see. I mean, obviously Trump, has lost a little political capital too, but I don't want to say it quite that way, because I think that this could have been potentially losing the battle to win the war, if that makes sense, in terms of, again, let's say that Trump's, lack of a better analogy, let's say Trump's political capital is 10 and Ryan's was 8, and Ryan went down, but Ryan was acting as a foil and a stop to Trump for him to get his agenda done, and Ryan now comes down to 3 and Trump comes down to 9.5. That's actually, yes, Trump technically lost some political capital, but that's a net win for him, if you know what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying about that. Anyway, what do you think about that? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Where you went on this? I think it's going to be very interesting going forward. I want to know what you think in the comments below. Please subscribe. Please rate this video up. Also, please post it on your social networking sites. Thanks so much for watching. I'm John D. Villarreal, the 4-time national champion and the super genius and the political expert. You're watching Conservative Media. I'll see you next time.